Hello, welcome back to the channel, Uncle Cthulhu. So today I'm going to do a video revisiting actually the first video I ever did for the channel. And what it's about is Gangs of Rome by Footesore Miniatures. So I thought I'd revisit this. Now I've had a bit more experience with it. I know a thing or two about it. And I've been recently thinking about Ancients, as you know from my Celts that you've seen. And also I bought the Offspray sort of fantasy Broken Legions set of rules. I had some birthday vouchers, so that came to me off Amazon, and that has a more skirmishy look. So I thought I'd revisit Gangs of Rome. So you see here, I've got a couple of gang fighters laid out there. 5 guys a side, that's roughly about right. Bit of terrain. The table as well as like a 3 foot by 3 foot cloth I got off I think it was eBay or something for 10-15 quid. So actually it's quite easy to get a setup for Gangs of Rome sorted out, and that's certainly something that's appealing for it as well. So when you are getting Gangs of Rome, each fighter will have a card which looks like this. They're all different. Down the side you'll see the top ones, how much damage they can take. The 6 there with their swords, that's what their attack is. That's how many dice they roll. The one underneath that, the 3, that's their defense. So that's taking off their attacks to see how much damage you do. Agility and the cost there. You've also got stuff like the symbols represent sort of which gods they follow, and also which areas of Rome. So a gang that's from the same area of Rome together, they'll fight well together as well. The other thing you have in game, stuff like this, so cards, and those cards tell you what you're able to, you play those as either weapons you've had hidden or effects that will impact on the game. So you don't quite know exactly what you're seeing as what you're getting, and you don't quite know exactly how the game's going to go with terms of playing those sort of like trips and stratagems and stuff as well. So what I've always found with skirmish games is without a bit of extra stuff, skirmish games can get a bit samey. Often you'll have 1 or 2 objectives on the field, so the games end up becoming a bit of a skirmish around that, especially with hand-to-hand combat-based skirmish games like this is. Now, there are a few things to keep this interesting. The first one is the efforts that Footesore have gone to make the game feel Roman. So as you can see, the cards themselves, full of sort of Roman imagery, gets a feel for the period. In the stat sets, of which there's been 2, I've been lucky enough to get both of them. Your measuring sticks are the wooden gladiators, which I think are great. The dice you can get for it, the Roman numerals as well, keeping you in the spirit of the game, the period. And the other thing you have is Rome is a living city. So you have mobs on the field, and these have an active role in the game. The mobs will move randomly, but you can also, if fighters are pushed into them, then the mob might turn on the fighter. Mobs might run away from fighters, so you could corral mobs to other people. The other thing your fighter could do is move into a mob, disappear into the mob, and then reappear at another mob, representing disappearing into the crowd. Your opponent's taking an eye off it, and that certainly adds a lot more to the skirmish feel for the city as well. The game system is random activation. You'll put a pebble for each one of your fighters into a bag. You'll draw a pebble each turn, each activation. Whichever colour it is, that player gets to do something with one of his or their fighters. You've got as well, see as your fighters start taking damage, a series of tokens to put on the fighters, so you can record. Normally they don't have these on, but once you get near 1, it's showing the blood damage, and actually another series of tokens, which aren't strictly necessary, but that helps keep tab on which fighter. When you play events and stratagems, So for example, if you see that one, that's number 19. So I haven't been able to pull 19 out my box of tokens, but you would have one of those to put next to the fighter to indicate that that fighter's got a spiked buckler, especially since you're not using WYSIWYG. So we've had several enjoyable games of Gangs of Rome. Like I say, we give some thought to the scenarios we were going to play. So like one of the scenarios was the gangs were passing through the same square, and it was about trying to take down enemy fighters, but also gain victory points for your fighters getting off the other side. Just so we didn't have that one objective that everybody sort of clustered around. The game system's dead easy. So sort of two types of fighting. There's blood combat where you're trying to kill your opponent, or brawl combat, which is trying to take them down, and maybe if you've got to capture somebody. So the blood combat is you'll roll a number of dice equal to the fighter's attack value. So if we come back to Drusilla, so she would roll 7 dice, and then the target of the attack rolls equal to their defense value. So in this case it's 3. Each successful roll blocks 1 successful attack. Each unblocked attack causes the target to lose 1 flesh, which is the blood at the top. And if the target suffers 2 or more unblocked hits, they don't get to fight back. So if in that case, if fighter 1, Drusilla, was charged there, the attacker would roll first. As long as Drusilla didn't have a gusher, she would get to fight back as well. So fighting does matter. Games are fairly swift. It takes about, we've certainly played an hour and a half. As we were getting into it, it certainly became a lot quicker. So your war bands, like it says, everything's got costs. You play it to a certain amount of denarii, points basically, and that's how you take it. You can also add denizens to the city. So for example, this fella here is from the set which came with the ruined temple, and the scenario, if you come near the ruined temple, this guy's defending it and he'll throw slates down on people. There's a whole series of Roman characters you can add to your games, and a load of mercenaries you could buy as well. So this guy here is a gladiator, and you get cards for them as well. Footesore have also done a series of specialist warbands. So actually, that's a good point. Let's talk about the miniatures. So the miniatures generally have a body and a pose, but the arms, you can add different weapons to them. And I think you can add different heads. Certainly the models that come in the start set were fixed. Other than that, you can add extra stuff to them. So for example, as you see here, this guy should normally have a spear with him, but it came off in my box. And I'd give him a shield. And I'm not sure about heads, whether you can give them heads or not. It's been a while since I've been building and painting these fellas. The mobs you need, they're significantly cheaper than the fighters, and they're all monopose as well. So getting them together is quite simple and quite easy as well. So like I say, Footesore do a few named bands. These are the Sons of Orcas, sort of guardians of the underworld. Quite a sinister looking gang. I had to have them all kind of up from the sewers where all the sort of, as you can see, a bit being a bit ill, a bit mutated. So yeah, that is Gangs of Rome. Oh, so this fell off. This is a guy I've been using as a special character. It's Kenneth Williams, kind of infamy Caesar from Warlord Games. So you can add a load of stuff in. You know, I was planning a scenario with one of the priests, Catholic priests from Warlord Games. So it's been quite quiet on the Footesore front for Gangs of Rome for a while. Baron's War and the Mortal Gods, I think, has been taking up their attention. Where would I like to see Gangs of Rome go next? So, as you may remember, if you followed me right from the start, my second video, I showed off these fellas. I think Gangs of Rome would be superb on the Gladiator floor. And these are my Gladiator models. I've got tons of them. So what you would see here is, I'm imagining each Gladiator would have a card. Each Gladiator would have an equipment card, which would determine what type of Gladiator they were. Obviously, different types of Gladiators fought with different weapons. I think this fella here was called Retarius. And obviously a light Gladiator, as you can see, compared to, say, the heavy Gladiators. I forget their names. Then what you would have is maybe your deck of cards. So in Gangs of Rome, they would be sort of tricks and weapons. Well, actually, in the arena, it would just be tricks that you're using. So when you get into fight, you maybe be able to use a trick card. And some of those could be based on the type of Gladiator you had as well. And campaign player would see you as the head of a fighting school. Dominus, something like this. So you'll be making decisions about which gladiators you went into fight. Different fights will be worth different amounts of money, denarii, and you'd be able to build and have a period between games where you maintain it. And again, you wouldn't need a massive field. You'd actually need significantly less terrain. And I think, I forget which, I think these are Crusader miniatures, I think the gladiators. I think looking at the sort of quality of this fella that Footesore did, they could do some lovely gladiator models, and that's something certainly I'd love to delve into and dive into them with them. But anyway, Gangs of Rome, really smart game system. Game's playing about an hour. It's a bit of fun. Me and my pal, we played one game to learn the rules, and then we played another game with more of a handle on the cards. He's more of a card player, so he got a lot of joy out of doing stuff with the cards. I'm just a general gamer, so I just enjoyed having the game, to be honest. And yeah, if you're looking for something a bit different, something very flavourful, I think Gangs of Rome might be for you. Anyway, if you've had any experience of Gangs of Rome, give us a shout. Let us know how you've got on with it. As you see, I've really enjoyed it. But then again, I love ancient Rome. But anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Actually, it's a really sunny day today in the conservatory that I'm recording my video in. But anyway, you have a good one, and I'll catch you later. Goodbye.